I am prosecuting on behalf of the State Department. I believe that the defendant Charles is guilty of murder of the first degree.
I am defending my client. He is admitting to be guilty of the murder. We would like to ask the court to be lenient and to offer a sentence of 30 years.
I am pushing that the court will give a punishment that is fair to the crime. That is why I believe Charles should receive capital punishment for his crimes.
Capital punishment is unnecessary for this case. Although a murder was committed, I believe that this punishment would be detrimental to the court. I would ask the prosecution to explain why they feel this is necessary.
By putting yet another murderer behind bars, we are endangering the lives of more people if a person like Charles is allowed back into society. By making his punishment death, we are preventing more people from killing others.
Scott is making an argument that is incorrectly misplacing the blame. I believe that by allowing Charles to stay in prison he will be given the ability to mull over what he did and allow him to change his behavior.
Jessica would like to believe that allowing him to come back to society would show how much he has changed. But would a regular American Joe really want a murderer back on the streets?
Why not? If the court determines that Charles is not killing for the sake of killing, then he should be allowed to return to society. The court needs to treat this as a situational, individual encounter. Moreover, in other countries around the world, capital punishment is not allowed and they do not experience issues with people being put behind bars. They live in a society where a crime receives an appropriate sentence.
It would be a lot easier and quicker to consider capital punishment. I would recommend that a quick resolution to Charles's punishment is the best way to resolve this matter.
Actually, filing for capital punishment can take a number of years to file and can be quite costly. I would ask the court consider putting Charles in a maximum security prison if it believes Charles to be a dangerous individual.
Your Honor, Americans advocate for capital punishment as they believe it is a valid punishment for criminals to receive.
A lot has changed over the last couple of decades. Americans feel that crime is still relatively high, where in fact it has significantly decreased over the last half a century. American perception is not always correct or applicable to criminal justice matters. We must think of this murder as situational and not use detrimental punishments as a basis for what should happen to him.
I would like to argue that capital punishment is a tried and tested method.
Killing someone on a court basis makes us no different than the killer. We cannot make an active decision whether or not to end someone's life. If the prosecution is willing to drop the capital punishment argument, we would be willing to settle for life without parole, still less costly and nullifies his threat to society.
I am willing to drop the capital punishment argument. I would like life without parole for Charles.
Although we believe the punishment is still more harsh than it deserves, we are thankful not to be pursuing capital punishment. Thank you, Your Honor.